I'm Australian and I'm Canadian, and fracking threatens both of my countries. Before I moved here in 2001, as an Australian, I actually thought Canada was a pretty environmentally aware country. And for that, I'd actually like to blame David Suzuki. I asked all of my friends back home, and I'm like, what do you think of Canada? And they're like, Canada's green, right? It's environmentally aware. And I moved here and I realized that it's really not. But you have David Suzuki. And he is so admired in Australia and such a force and such a voice of reason. And so because of that, we ended up having this misplaced belief that Canada is environmentally aware. So just as a little background, I came to Squamish on vacation in 2001. And I never left. And I'm going to read out a little bit from these t-shirts that we designed from My Sea to Sky. Let's just see, here it says, I fell in love with the ocean, the rivers, the temperate rainforests, and the mountains. The lifestyle is what attracted to me to Squamish, and the people is what made me stay. I could live anywhere, and yet I choose to live in Squamish. Every morning when I wake up, I look at the chief, and every day I know that I am incredibly lucky to be able to call Squamish my home. So Squamish and the House Sound are some of the most spectacular places that I've ever seen. This really is my heart's home, and when I first came here, I just kept on getting drawn back to Squamish. It is such a special place, and it's such an exciting time to be there. It's a community in transition. It's transitioning from the old ways, the extraction and resource-based industries, to a new economy that has a broader economic base and a more diverse economic base and a more resilient economic base. We're looking at knowledge-based industries. We have 2 universities in town. We are looking at the rec tech industry, like Pink Bike has just announced that they're going to be moving into town. We have a hub that has started that is all about trying to foster innovative entrepreneurs. All of these things make sense. LNG does not. So when I first heard about the proposed wood fibre LNG project, I actually thought, like, my first reaction was, oh, you know, that could actually be a good use for the old wood fibre site. It's a contaminated site, it's zoned industrial, there's a lot of toxic waste left over there, and the proponents say they're going to clean all that up. So it's like, oh, you know, like on the surface, you know, the cries of jobs and taxes, it all sounds good. But as soon as you start digging below that surface, it's scary, and it doesn't make any sense. So wood fibre LNG started having their first open houses in February this year. And I went to one of the first sessions, and I asked some questions, and I didn't really get any answers. Hundreds of other concerned people also went to these sessions and asked their questions, and they didn't get any answers either. So we're there asking questions, not getting answers, and it just seems to be like the industry is asking us to trust them without actually providing any of these answers, and that just doesn't work. So this is when the seeds of My Sea to Sky were born. I started meeting some other amazing people that were as concerned as I was, and we started talking and we started meeting. And one of the first things that I did was I actually hosted a Connect event, which is organised through Lead Now. And about 80 people came out, and we knew straight away that the wood fibre LNG was going to be one of the big issues. So we organised for that, and we separated everybody out to talk in the different groups. And we started talking and we started organising. And it was really quite amazing. I then wrote an opinion piece based on all of the open sessions that I went to that were organised for this wood fibre project, the LNG project in Squamish. And it was essentially asking all of the questions that I had asked and the questions that everybody else had asked and hadn't had answers to. And through that, more and more people started contacting me, and more people started, you know, explaining how concerned they were as well. There were some people that decided that they wanted to start organising events and information sessions in town, so we connected with them. There were some people that created a neighbourhood group, and they wanted to start writing letters to council and the government, and so we connected with them. And so it was really all of these people that came together, and this is how My Sea to Sky has been formed. And we have reached out to communities from Whistler to West Vancouver. We've reached out to people and organisations, and we've found some incredible mentors and so much support, and it's been incredible. So one of the first goals of My Sea to Sky is to educate the community about what the issues are with this proposed wood fibre LNG project. The second goal is to reach out, as I was saying, to all of these other organisations, all of these other communities that are going to be impacted by this proposed project. It's going to have very far-reaching impacts from West Vancouver all through the Sound and as far as Whistler, even when you start talking air quality or when you start to talk about the tankers that are going to be transiting through the Sound. All of these regions are going to be impacted, so you need to be as concerned about this as we are. And then that doesn't even mention the upstream impacts and what is happening in the northern communities, right, with fracking. And that just doesn't make sense. It also doesn't make any sense when you start looking at it from a global perspective and what this means for climate change. When you have an industry, boom and bust industry, and their only goal is to make as much money as possible, they're going to be pumping this stuff out, and it doesn't make sense from a climate perspective either. So we've really joined together and we've organised, and it's been incredible. We've had our first event. We've set up a website, we've set up a Facebook page, we've designed t-shirts. If any of you want a t-shirt, we are going to have them outside afterwards. They're $25 each. And that will help us to pay for some of these things. It will help us to pay for the information sessions and all of that kind of stuff as well. And last week we organised our very first protest, and that was incredible. The Sea to Sky gondola had its opening on Friday, and if you haven't been up there, I highly recommend going because it is spectacular. Seriously, I want to live on their deck and drink beer. And I don't even drink beer, that's why they kicked me out of Australia. So the process itself was incredible. We had about 120 people come out, and this is on a busy work day. So people took time off work to stand on the side of the highway and to let our politicians who are going to be at this event know that we do not support this wood fibre LNG project. We do not support fracking. And to be honest, I really think that this project, the fact that Christy Clark is personally pushing this project, is a huge tactical error. Because what that has done is that it has brought these voices from the north that have been trying to get their information and their message out there, and it has made it a local issue. And I really hope that we can continue to connect and that we can continue to share your voices and share the stories of what is happening up there, and to say, this is happening here, and it's happening in our backyard right now, and we will do whatever it takes to stop this.